So, you want to be a real estate investor, but where do you start? How do you know what information and sources to trust? That's where I come in. I'm Jonny Cattani, and this is the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. Hey guys, real quick, before we start, go to investwithcattani.com and download my free ebook, Is Commercial Real Estate Recession Proof? Now to today's show. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jonny Cattani, and I am joined today by Alina Trigub. Alina joined the TF Management Group LLC team in February 2021. She spearheads marketing and investor relations, as well as education activities for the group. Alina's expertise has been built upon her personal journey as an equity investor, as well as through SAMO Financial, the group she founded and built to provide an education and alternative investment options to her clients. Through SAMO Financial, Alina and her investors have been able to build an extensive investment portfolio and invest in various commercial real estate, including but not limited to apartment buildings, self-storage, mobile home parks, and many other commercial assets. Alina's business motto has been articulated well by Warren Buffett's quote, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." Her passion is to teach others how to build wealth by investing passively. Alina, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Jonathan, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Likewise. I like we were talking offline, I enjoyed doing research, and I look forward to our discussion. But let's kind of start at the beginning here. I know you have a pretty awesome storied career. So start at the beginning, kind of talk about your professional life and what even led you to discovering real estate.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been so many years, but my journey in the United States started almost 30 years ago when I immigrated here with my mom, and as a poor immigrant was in front of the choices, deciding what is it that I want to do. And well, when you don't have anything in your pockets and need to determine what you want to do, you try to find a career, or at least in my case, I wanted to find something that will pay a decent salary. So I chose accounting because I was also good with numbers, studied that, worked as a tax accountant at a few companies, decided that I hated it, left accounting field altogether, and ended up in the information technology world where I had about 20 years of pretty successful corporate career and done many things, but most of my roles have been around connecting the two worlds, the world of business and the world of technology. I understood both, and I was able to help them communicate because they typically have a language barrier, if you will. And while doing that, the tax accounting skills, I guess, kept kicking in me because my career was progressing, my husband's career was progressing, and so were tax brackets, and I was not happy with those tax implications. So I kept looking for ways to lower tax implications. And in my search, real estate kept coming up multiple times, and I finally decided to take action and do my research to find out what kind of real estate investing I can do to help lower tax brackets. I didn't want to lower tax bracket, but I did want to lower tax implications, and came across real estate syndications after the research, started investing as an equity partner in syndications. And after doing that for a number of years and realizing tremendous benefits and realizing that the people around me have never heard and don't even know what syndications are, I decided to help other people, help them find a way to passively invest in real estate, save on taxes, build their wealth passively, and diversify their portfolio in real estate. And that's how my company, SAMO Financial, was born. And it's still to this day, as you mentioned, educating people on how they can diversify their portfolio, find syndication investments, the benefits, the pros and cons of it, and whatnot. I was still working my W-2 job, but then COVID hit and I was impacted by that. So my position was liquidated. And at that point, I decided to go into real estate full time. And while working in real estate, I was introduced to Mike Zlatnik of TF Management Group, and we immediately hit it off. And Mike invited me to join his group and head investor relations and really help them bring that to the next level. Happy to share that I'm with them. It's been over a year. It's been a great journey. It feels like many more years together. It's a great team, and I've helped them to significantly expand our investor audience, and we continue building that audience and educating investors and helping them with their real estate diversification needs through TF Management Group.
That's awesome. I love that. That's such a great story, especially, as an immigrant, and really discovering the true power that, and benefits of real estate investing. So with TF Group, kind of talk about, it sounds like you said, you really helped them build their investor base. So talk about what your main focus was when you got there and building it, and what that process has been like.
Sure. So TF Management Group is a real estate fund management company. We build diversified funds, and we cater, each of the funds has a specific investment goals, and we typically cater these goals to our existing audience, our investors, not some imaginary folks out there. And with that in mind, I've started building up on education, such as webinars, articles, common Q&A, asking people what are the questions, what are the pain points, what is it that they cannot understand. And I've been expanding on this educational materials and providing so much content to investors that I've had many people, to this day, many people are coming back saying how great the content that we are providing and how well packaged it is. I guess many years of corporate experience, plus other things that I've done outside of my corporate career, such as mentoring students, coaching people in real estate industry, and just really helping people to get more education, has helped me to continue building this educational content that's easy to digest and easy to understand, and helps people not only to understand what the real estate syndication industry is about, but also to make informed, intelligent decisions and be empowered to make these decisions much faster, as opposed to if they were staying in the dark without knowing what is it that they're doing.
Okay, you made so many really great points there, especially for, busy, corporate people. It's very important that when they are reading something, like we said offline, people have a short attention span. So it's important that you're giving them little tiny bits of easily digestible information that's slowly, pointing them in the right direction as to where they should go. So it sounds like TF did not have any of that in place before you started. Is that correct?
So TF had a ton of educational content. It was just not presented in a way that would be easily digestible. I have to give Mike a credit. He is a super powerful educational machine, but that educational content needs to be cut into smaller pieces, and that's where I come in. I've helped him a lot to shape that content in a way that's a lot more digestible and more user-friendly, if you will, and helps people to understand them. And in parallel, I've been building my own. So what I've built, and I'm happy to share with your audience, I've created a bunch of educational animation videos that are anywhere between 1 to 3 minutes long. and they provide simply either the definitions or clarifications about various commercial real estate terminologies and content, and really explain how real estate syndication works. So happy to share that if needed.
That's awesome. Okay, animated. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone use animation. So that's a really, really awesome medium because, again, it makes it very simple, which is really the point here, right? So I guess the biggest thing is, are you finding that you're having to educate people in terms of they had no idea that this, commercial real estate and passive real investing existed, or is it, they knew it's there, but, they didn't know anything about it, or they had no idea whatsoever?
Jonathan, it's an awesome question. I would say both. Number one, so my background, undergrads in accounting, MBA in finance. I am surrounded by people like that. I live near Wall Street. So a lot of my surrounding, at least half of the people, either former coworkers or people that I went to school with, have been from the financial services industry. And it just boggled my mind when I would tell people syndication, real estate, commercial real estate, and they would say, what? Most people have never heard that word at all. And I wanted to change that. So that's how my company, SAMO Financial, was born. And I started pushing content out. On top of it, as I was talking to people that are interested in investing in real estate, I realized that many of them are not taking the next steps just because they don't understand the content. They don't understand what syndications are about, how does it work. And many of them are super busy with either their businesses, if they're entrepreneurs, or with their careers, that they simply don't have the bandwidth to consume this, 100 pages War and Peace kind of stuff. They needed something a lot more condensed, something shorter, but something that explains to them in layman terms what is this industry about and what is this passive way to invest in real estate and do it without any interruption to their day-to-day life activities, hobbies, whatever they have in their life. And that's what I've been providing, essentially serving people exactly what they need to digest the content and get to that level of confidence where they're ready to take action and invest.
So by the time they're ready to take action, or even just, set up a phone call with you because they're interested, what does that process then look like? Are you finding that they're ready, or, are you still having to kind of ease them along? I know one thing you mentioned is finding, finding what fits their goals. So is it really just about figuring out what they want, or kind of a mix?
That's the question that gets us to the bottom of it. So one of my most favorite books on this topic is Dale Carnegie, How to Make Friends. I don't remember the exact name, but I'm sure you know.
Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
Yeah, incredible book.
I probably read it, I read it first in a foreign language when I was still living in Soviet Union. So I read that in Russian first, but after that, I've read it in English probably at least 4 to 5 times. And the book has so many great nuggets of information, but what it really comes down to, in order to understand the other person, you have to be a great listener. Most people, have it coming out in one ear and coming out of the other. You need to listen to what people tell you and keep it in mind when you're talking to them to really understand what is it they're looking for. Because when you talk to someone, they are telling you their life story, but in between the lines, they're telling you their pain points, what they're looking for. I'm really scared of the stock market. I need to retire in a few years, or I have to put my kids through college, and that's coming in 5-10 years. I don't know how to do it. So read between the lines, listen, pay attention to what people are telling you, because they're essentially telling you what they need. And if you happen to have what they need, then help them match their needs against your product and show them that. Don't make stuff up. By no means I'm suggesting that, but if you have what they need, then explain how that pain points is solved with your product, with your offerings, or whatever you have in the shop. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. I love that. That's so true, because really, well, you touched on a lot of great things on just the human side of it. So many people, they hear you, but their response is already predetermined. They already know what they want to say back to you, as opposed to listening to what you are saying and then determining how they want to respond. And how to win friends and influence people is really, that's kind of the precipice of the whole book. Is no, it's really about understanding who you're talking to and what their needs are, and then being able to respond to that. So once you then have that discussion and understand, what they're looking for, I know one thing, obviously, especially when you're high up in the corporate world, is same issue you had, is you're paying way too much in taxes. So obviously, we can't, unfortunately, take bonus depreciation and put it against our W-2. So what are you finding in terms of transitioning them towards, passive income and really being able to eventually kind of, I don't want to say shelter, but, be able to put their money in places where they can actually, reduce their tax exposure?
So to answer this question, the answer is really, it depends. What are the folks looking for? If someone is looking for growth-oriented investments and they're open to wait, and they have the time to wait for their investments to grow and materialize into something more substantial, then they would definitely be up for tremendous tax benefits for this particular investment. And obviously, I have to say that I'm not a CPA, I'm not even a tax accountant anymore, and it's been over 20 years since I've studied taxes.
No tax advice here. Please see your CPA and lawyers.
Absolutely, and thank you for that, Jonathan. But the idea is you're putting money into something that will start producing losses for you. And the great part is, if you can't take these losses up front, you can always carry them forward into the future. That's number one. So if you're getting losses instead of gains, of course, you're not paying taxes for the first few years. Number two, when the time finally does come in to pay taxes, you would be paying taxes on capital gain, which for folks in a higher tax bracket is capped at 20%. So again, if you're in a higher tax bracket, 30+%, you're saving off the top at least 10% or more already. Plus, think of it as the time value of money. You're not paying these taxes today, you're paying them down the road when you will get that gain from that investment. So the benefits are absolutely tremendous from investing in a real estate value add project that offers them those growth opportunities.
I love that so much. And it's such a powerful, powerful concept. And obviously, once people understand this, I wish I could say that once people understand this, it's like a no-brainer. And then they're, how much money can I give you? But I'm sure you can attest that it's still a process in getting them to, start writing those checks. So are you finding that, people are starting at your fund minimums, or is it pretty, once they understand this concept, you have, really solid, really nice, big investment checks?
So I would say there are two subgroups. The one subgroup, people that come through warm introduction, a friend, a cousin, or family member, or whatever, someone who is coming from an existing investor that's been with us for many years. They typically don't even bother looking at the minimums. If it's a cold introduction, if it's a cold lead, or hey, I heard you on a podcast, like I heard you on Jonathan's podcast and the interview was great, I wanted to reach out. Those folks typically start with a minimum, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's still a cold lead. We're new to them. They don't know us well. They don't have anyone to rely on us. And podcast is a marketing material, but it doesn't give them enough confirmation that yes, we definitely exist. It's not a Ponzi scheme, and we're someone who they can trust. So it takes time for them to get used to us and start investing. But even within last year, I've seen so many confirmations of people believing in us sooner rather than later. And for example, we had Tempo Growth Fund. It's a close-ended fund, but it had an open period where people could add money if they wanted to in the fund. And the fund was showing significant performance. I don't want to use the word improvements, but it was performing really well. And while there was time to add, I had a number of people add to their existing position 2 or even 3 times because they were so happy with how the fund was going. And now we just opened a new growth fund, Tempo Growth Fund 2, and I'm sure we will have the same thing happen once the momentum is picked up and people see how well the fund is performing. Of course, it's still early to tell, but you know, I have high confidence in our team, and I'm sure we'll be able to pick the investments that are as good as in the first growth fund.
Absolutely. I love that. And this is a perfect segue. I want to get into now, talk about how you guys, the makeup of your funds, how they're structured. It sounds like you said they're close-ended, so they're open for a while, and they're multiple asset funds, and you know, kind of talk about that.
Sure. Thank you, Jonathan. So we have several funds. Tempo Growth Fund 2 is a close-ended fund, which entails that we have a period during which we're fundraising, and then it closes its doors to investors. Each of our funds is aligned with a specific investment goal, and that helps investors to determine which of the funds to invest in. Some invest in all 3. So growth fund is obviously growth oriented. It's for folks that do not need immediate passive income, can wait for some time and want to put the money there and let it multiply. What we've done this time around is we created the structure that's plausible not only to folks that want to put the money in and take advantage of high depreciation. We've created another subset of units. So there is a subset of units that need that higher depreciation, and they can take advantage of it by applying those losses to their passive or active gains, depending on whether they are passive or active real estate investors. There is another subset of units in that fund that allows for folks to invest their IRA money. They will get a higher preferred return, but what they can also do is take that investment and convert it into Roth and save on taxes, because during that Roth conversion, and again, I don't want to go too much into details, there is a way to convert it at a lower value, and this way they save on taxes and they're not paying taxes on their full investment amount rather than on the amount that's been provided to them by the CPA valuation form. So that's one fund. Then we have 2 open-ended funds. One is a Tempo Income Fund, and again, the name speaks for itself. It's for folks that are looking for that immediate passive income, pays quarterly distributions. People get quarterly returns. If they don't want to take these distributions, they can reinvest and take advantage of compound interest. And our third fund is a combination. If someone tells me that, hey, I want a little bit of both, so here we go. We have this fund that is 1/3 growth and 2/3 income. It's called Tempo Opportunity Fund. It is also open-ended. They can put the money in, they can take out distributions that are paid out quarterly, or they can reinvest them and again take advantage of the compound interest. So we try to cover all bases and help investors come and invest that have different investment goals essentially. And the beauty of our funds, they're diversified, and we diversify in 3 different ways. We diversify geographically, we diversify among different assets such as multifamily, industrial, storage, and so forth. And the third type of diversification is by different investment strategies such as core, value add, hard money loans, and so forth, hotels to affordable housing conversions. And again, all of that is done to minimize the risks. The reason we offer a portfolio with diversified array of products is to help folks minimize the risks, and we do it through these multiple diversification strategies.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really truly the pinnacle, right? When an investor is going out and you've done all the work, all the legwork for them, you know, and made it so simple, which really is really the key here, right? You want to obviously first educate them, but also then give them that opportunity. You know, so many operators focus only on one asset class in one market. And yes, that's great. And, you know, as long as your investors are happy with that, that's great too. But when you can offer so many different, that's why I love the fund model. And that's the model that my group focuses on, is that allows me to then focus on different markets, different asset classes, different, you know, even so, like you said, hard money loans, you know, debt, different things like that. And it really just allows your investors to choose what they want. And that's really how you keep investors, ultimately, is my philosophy. So I love that so much. That's really incredible that you guys have been able to do that. So then let's kind of switch gears here. I know you're really a public speaker now, and you do a lot of speaking engagements, and you mentioned offline Tony Robbins. So kind of talk to me about, you know, that part of your career and you know, what that's done for you.
Sure, Jonathan. So books like Tony Robbins, Empower the Giant Within, and many others, I don't even remember all of the books I read, that they help you to really refocus and open up your mind to many opportunities. When I started my real estate investing journey, books like that, Tony Robbins, Hal Elrod, they were essential part of my educational package. I don't think I would be able to invest and take these steps without opening up my mind first to possibilities around me. You know, I was narrow focused, just like many folks, thinking that Wall Street is it. You know, there's that stock market investments, and there is nothing else out there. And by reading books, I was able to essentially look into other opportunities, into other alternative investments that are out there, and see what else is available as far as the investing strategies that would benefit my family, and down the road other folks that I'm helping to. And I strongly encourage folks to read Hal Elrod, Miracle Morning, definitely a bunch of Tony Robbins books. Another one of my favorites, not necessarily personal development, but a great educational financial read, is George Clason, The Richest Man in Babylon. The book is probably over 100 years old, and I'm still to this day amazed how this ancient book talks about a simple yet so sophisticated topic of getting wealthier, and it's absolutely incredible read for anyone who wants to build their financial future.
That's so true, and it really is about, you know, changing your mindset. And you know, one thing I know that I certainly struggled with in the beginning, and people struggle with, is that sort of imposter syndrome, right? Like, do I really belong here? You know, when names like Tony Robbins come up, and you know, huge, like, you know, obviously TF Management is in the institutional space, you know, people can feel like, you know, maybe they don't belong. But that's what's so incredible about this community, is everyone here really actually wants to help. Right. And obviously your passion is helping people and teaching. And I love that. And I love when people realize that, you know, all we're doing is just trying to help people. And so along those lines, what are some of your goals as you move forward and progress and look to the future?
That's a great question. I definitely want to continue educating people and helping them to become better investors, better listeners, better family members, just better and at whatever they do, business owners, entrepreneurs, career professionals. And I want to help them to stay focused at what they do best and have an ability to invest in real estate with ease by using various educational channels possible that we're providing them.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, it's so great when, obviously the ultimate goal is to get investors and ultimately, of course, selfishly invest with us, with you for you, me for me, but really we just want to help people, reach their goals. And of course, as cliche as financial freedom sounds, it really is an achievable goal, especially through passive investing. And so it's really about getting people to understand that. And you know what, if they don't invest with you, but they find that path, great. Really, you help someone, and that's really the ultimate reward. So I love that so much. So as crazy as it sounds, we're actually nearing the end here. I've enjoyed this so much. You're so intelligent. It's been awesome to listen to like your philosophy and the way that you view the world. And I love it so much. So I have 5 questions that I ask all of my guests. It's the final 5 questions. So we'll get into those. The first question is, what is the best advice you've gotten from a mentor?
Educate yourself and then educate again and then educate again.
I love that. That's so great. So true. You can never, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. That's why I never stop educating myself. I always try to read books, listen to the books, speak with other intelligent people like yourself. And there's always some new nugget that I learned from someone in one way or the other.
So true. Awesome. And what is it about your career that makes you feel like you're fulfilling your why?
As I mentioned earlier, I've changed my job, profession, occupation multiple times. I never thought I would end up where I'm at today. What I forgot to mention, before I came to United States, I was studying ecology, environmental protection studies, which I never finished that degree. But anyway, the bottom line is I feel that now I'm finally at a point where I am fulfilling my obligation. I'm able to help so many people around me to build wealth passively, diversify their portfolio, and really leave a legacy after themselves by building their financial nest egg and providing to their families.
I love that. That's so awesome. So you've talked about a lot of books, a lot of really great ones. Some I've read, some I haven't, but do you have a favorite non-real estate or investment related book?
I would say The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason is my favorite for sure.
Awesome. I love that. I have not read it, but I've heard of it. It's been mentioned a lot. I definitely need to put it on my list.
It's in English. So even though it was written over 100 years ago, it's in English. So you won't have a problem understanding it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely get to it. My goal this year is to read a book a month. So I'm going to put that on my list. Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Right now, unfortunately, we're going through the war in Ukraine. And if I had the superpower, I would have loved to stop the war right now, right this minute.
Yeah, I love that. That's unfortunate for sure. Awesome. And the last question, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you and learn more about you and find your educational content?
They can find me either through tempafunding.com, the website they can see in my background, or through samofinancial.com, or on social media. Pretty often on LinkedIn, Facebook, and other social media handles.
Awesome. And we will link all of that on the show notes. Alina, this has been incredible. Honestly, I'm so grateful you joined me, and thanks so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Listen, I know it's cliche and you hear it all the time, but please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Even though this is technically a daily podcast, you know it's coming out the next day. We have a ton of content coming your way. So please like and subscribe. It helps a ton. Leave comments. Would love to know what you guys think. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks so much.